Hey guys, and welcome back to another Management 4 tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a third-person sniper. So this is going to be for a third-person shooter. I'm going to be creating a sniper rifle. Now this will also technically work in first-person as well. However, it was designed for third, but like I say, it will still work in first. So let me show you what we're going to be making today. We can walk in, walk around. I'll show you all the packs and everything that I'm using to create this as well. It's all free. So we can walk around. If we hold down right mouse button, we're going to aim in through the sniper rifle. We have this on screen. We'll move about, and we can still shoot like so. Now, I've not added a sound effect just because I don't want it to be too loud or distract or anything. However, you can see we have a sniper rifle like this, and we can change how far we are zoomed in. We still shoot, and we just zoom out again like that out of the scope. Again, we can change how zoomed in it is, which I'll show you later on. So this is what we can make today. So let me delete this code, and I'll show you how I've done it. So for this, I'm going to be using three different things. So I'm going to be using a sniper rifle model, which I've downloaded, the animation starter packs for the animations for aiming and stuff like that, which I'd recommend you using if you're making a third-person shooter or anything. It's very good and it's free, made by Epic Games. And the third one is a sniper crosshair, which I've made as well. So I'll show you the rifle model and the overlay. So this is the overlay that we've got, obviously you saw that at the start. And then this is the model I've got. It's not textured, it's just one which I got from CG Trader. Obviously you can use your own, it doesn't matter, we don't really need this for this to work. However, you will probably have your own one. So once you've imported all of that, the first thing we want to do is we want to set up the animations. So I'm going to be using the character which I got in the animation starter pack. So for me, I'm going to go to anim starter pack, and you see we have this all here. And so once we're in here, I'm going to create an animation blend space. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have the animations for walking forwards, backwards, and all that while I'm aiming. However, if you don't want that, you don't need to do it, or you can use upper body montages, anything like that. But as well, especially if you're using the anim starter pack, I'd recommend doing this, but doing it anyway so you can blend between the animations. So to do this, we're going to right click, go to animation, get a blend space, setting it to the correct skeleton for you. So mine's UE4 mannequin skeleton with the path of game anim starter pack, so it's the correct skeleton. I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to name this one Sniper ADS BS for blend space, like so, and ADS aim down sights. And we're going to open it up straight away. In here, I'm going to change the horizontal axes to be direction, where the minimum is minus 180 and the maximum at 180. Then we can change the vertical to be speed. The minimum is 0, maximum as your maximum speed. So I'll leave it as default for 100, but change that to be the maximum speed that you have. Then in here, I'm going to search for rifle iron sights, as that's what the animations are named for me in this pack. So I want the walk forward rifle iron sights, and I'll put that all the way over on the right here in the middle. And then walk backwards, rifle iron sight all over there. So I can walk forwards and backwards in here, like so. And then in the middle here as well, we're just going to get a rifle iron sight idle. So there, and that'll be in the middle at the bottom as well. So you can see we're idle there, walking forwards, walking backwards, and this is just the very basic blend space that we've got set up. So once you've done that, we can save and close that. Then we're going to put this into our animation blueprint. So for me, that's here, UE4 ASP Hero TPP animation blueprint here. And what I'm going to do is go to locomotion. So this is our state machine. So you might have to double click the state machine there. I'm going to right click, add a state, and just name this Sniper ADS, like so. This will go into the idle, and the idle will go into this. You can connect these lines into anywhere you want to go from. So if you're jogging, you can go into it as well. And so actually I will connect it to jog as well to show you how to do it. It's very easy to do. So we're going to double click Sniper ADS, and in here we will just place our blend space that we have, that we just made. So mine was Sniper ADS BS there, plugging the end result into the result there. Direction as our direction and speed variables we should already have. Now if you don't already have these, I do have a video on setting it up. However, especially if you're using this, you'll probably have it already. So we compile and save that. Now you can see this isn't working, and that's because we haven't set up these transitional lines here. But first, we need to actually create a boolean. So first we'll go to the event graph, as this is where we're going to set it up, but we need to do something first. So we're going to minimize this and open up our character blueprint, which again for me is going to be this one here. And once you're in your character blueprint, you want to find some empty space, and we're going to right click, and we're going to get a right mouse button. Actually, I'll set up an action mapping. So what we're going to do is go to Edit, Project Settings. Once this loads, we're going to go down to Input down here, hit a plus action mapping there, and I'm just going to name this one AIM or ADS, anything like that. And we're going to change this to be the right mouse button, like so. So we have to hold the right mouse button to aim, or toggle any way you like. We just have to use the right mouse button. And the benefit of doing this is it's much more efficient than just getting a keyboard event as we get an actual action mapping, and we can set this up to have multiple keys set up for different consoles and also key bindings. Once we've got that, we're just going to close it there, go back in the event graph, right click, and search for what we just named it. So mine's aim, so we should have action event aim there. Out of this, we want to hit the plus variable again to create a new variable. This one named is aiming, question mark, leaving it as a boolean, and setting it to true off of pressed and false off of released. So when we are holding right mouse button, we're going to be aiming. Now if you want to have it so it's toggled, all you do is you come out of pressed, get a flip-flop, A sets it to true, B sets it to false, and don't come out of released, and that will then toggle it. However, I don't want to do that, I want to hold it instead, so I'm going to leave it like that. Then we're going to compile that and go back to our animation blueprint here. Now you can see we have all of this. If you're not using this animation blueprint in this pack, don't worry, you'll just come out of your cast, which again I have a video on setting up an animation blueprint if you don't have one already. So come out of as your character, we're going to get is aiming. Out of is aiming, we're going to right click, promote to variable, name this one is aiming as well, and this is just so that we can use this boolean in this animation blueprint. Plug that into there so it will be set like so. Compile, go back to our state machine, and we can just set this up. So we'll do idle to sniper ADS first, so double click that, we'll get is aiming, and just plug that in there. So when this boolean is true, so we are aiming, we're going to aim. And then we'll go back to our state machine and go to sniper ADS to idle, get is aiming again. This time we're going to drag out and get a not boolean. So when we are not aiming, we'll go back to the other one. So go back to being idle. Go back to the state machine, and we can do the same here. So jog to sniper ADS, we just want to have as is aiming, plug straight into there because that will be true or false, which will set that to true or false. And then sniper ADS back to jog is not aiming, so is aiming not boolean, because if that's true, then that means we're not aiming. So we'll enter the animation and play the correct ones. Now if we compile, save, we have no issues. So we can close the animation blueprint, leaving the character blueprint open, minimize this, and we can actually hit play to test this out to see if it's working. So we hit play, what we're going to get is if we hold right mouse button, we're going to aim like so, and we can walk around like this, and this works great. Now we're getting a bit of a weird thing there, the animation doesn't look too good, so I think I may have used the wrong animation possibly, I'll have a look in a second, but you can see we are aiming when we're holding right mouse button like so. So let me have a look at that animation and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I have fixed it. All I did was just increase the speed it needed, and that worked. I'm not sure why it did that this time, because when I tested it out earlier, it didn't do that. However, you can see this works. I'll show you in a second. However, you can see we have our aiming done here. So now let's move on to the next part. But again, all I did was, this was in the middle, I just moved them both up to be on the top line, and now it works perfectly. So we can save and close that again. Next, we want to set up our sniper rifle blueprint. So we're going to minimize this, go to content, and we'll go in our folder which we want. So mine's sniper scope here. I'm going to right click, go to blueprint class, get an actor, and I'm going to name this one sniper BP. I'm going to open that up straight away. In here, I'm going to add component, add a static mesh, with this one being our AWP. So I'll just name it AWP, and I'm going to change this to be our AWP static mesh sniper rifle that we have here. Now you can see by default this is quite big and not where we want it positioned. So I'll use the values which I got earlier to fix this, to recenter and resize it. So the location was 0, 0, minus 40 on the Z, rotation was 0, 0, 0, and the scale was 0.15 on the X, Y, and Z, and now we have a properly scaled and centered gun. We compile that, and once we've done that, we're going to add in the camera. So we're going to add a component, add a camera, like so, and again, I'll use the values which I got earlier, which was minus 1.15 on the X, 0 on the Y, and 9 on the Z, with a scale of 0.25 on the X, Y, Z, and now we have it positioned where we'd like at the end of our scope, like so. Of course, you can move this to be wherever you like, however, that's where I want it. And the scale doesn't matter either, it's just a lot easier to see, obviously, if we scale it down like so. And then one final component I want to add in here is, again, add component. I'm going to add a sphere, like so. I'm going to name this one bullet. And this is where we want the bullet to spawn when we're shooting from the gun. So this is just a reference. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this to where I want, again, using the values I found earlier. So that was 0.1 scaled on the X, Y, and Z, and then about 72.5 on the X, and then also 1.15 on the Z, just to raise it up a bit, and you can see that we now have that at the end of our barrel there. So this is where the bullet will spawn. Again, put this wherever you like. However, this is where I found to be good for this specific model. And now once we've done that, that's the main part of the gun setup. So it's the viewport setup. We'll need to come back to do some code later on, but we do have that part set up. So we compile, save that, and now we're going to set up the projectile, so our bullet. So we're going to minimize this, right click, get a blueprint class and get another actor. This one I'm just going to name sniper, bullet, or projectile, anything you want, and then open it up straight away. In here I'm going to add component, add a sphere collision, not a sphere, sorry, a sphere collision there, and we're going to drag that onto the default scene route to make this the new scene route. Then we're going to add another component and add just a normal sphere now, like so, and this one I'm just going to scale down so it fits inside the sphere collision, like so. So I think that's going to be good. We compile that and select our sphere collision again, and we need to change its collision settings. So we're going to scroll down until we find the collision. We'll change collision presets to custom and change it from object type, world dynamic, to physics body. Now you may find other collisions which work a lot better for your projectile, because at the moment I'm not actually setting up to be a proper projectile which damages or anything like that. This is just kind of a placeholder for me so I can actually use it to shoot. So you might have better settings for your own projectile. If so, use those, that's absolutely fine. But that is that setup. And again, if you already have your own projectile, you can use that. So we can compile, save, and now we can close the bullet as that is that part done. Next, we're going to go back to our character blueprint here. What we're going to do is we're going to come under the aim, shall go above the aim, I'll right click, get event begin play. If you've already used it, you can hold on S, left click to get a sequence after it, put in your code in then 0, and then this new code in then 1. However, I don't need to do that. Off of event begin play, we're going to get a spawn actor from class, with the class being our gun which we just made, so I named mine sniper BP there. The spawn transform, we're going to right click, promote to variable, and name this one sniper transform. And we'll set that up in a second. I'm going to put that down there. Out of the return value, we're going to right click, promote to variable, and call this sniper reference or sniper ref. Out of that, we're going to set actor enable collision, and we're going to untick it so it's false. So we want to disable the collision so that it doesn't interfere with the player and start moving it in random directions and breaking the code. So also make sure that the sniper ref is the target for that enable collision. Out of the sniper ref again, we're going to attach actor to component, plugging that in there, with the target as the sniper ref and the parent as our mesh. So get mesh there. As we want to attach the sniper to the mesh so it moves around with us. The socket name for this, I want to be the right hand. So I'm just going to quickly get something, so a cube, dragging it onto the mesh there, searching in the parent socket for the right hand. So you see it is all lowercase hand underscore R. So I deleted that cube, it was just a reference. And in the socket name, I'm going to put hand underscore R. Now it might be different for you if you're using a different skeleton, so make sure that you get it spelled absolutely perfect, otherwise it won't work. And for the rules, we're going to keep it as keep relative for all of them. After this, we're going to create widget, like so, and we'll create the widget in a second. Return value of this, I'll actually do that in a second as well. So I'll delete the widget, we'll do that in a minute. What we'll do first is we'll set up our sniper transform. So if we go to the viewport, add a component, add a child actor here. I'm going to set the child actor class to be our sniper BP here. Now this is just going to be a reference, we'll delete it in a minute. We're just using this to get the proper location we want. So once we've done that, we'll also parent it to the mesh as well. So using that hand R there. And this is where it would be. So now we can rotate it and locate it where we'd want it to be. So this might take a bit of fiddling for you, or obviously you can use the values which I'm about to create as well. And what might be better as well is if you actually change the animation blueprint to be an asset of the rifle iron sights, so you can see where it will be positioned when we're aiming. But again, do it for how you want. So I think that is a good position for me. That's where I want the gun to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to again select the mesh, change it to the animation blueprint, and now you can see we have the gun perfect there, like so. What we'll do is we'll select the child actor again, so we can have its transform variables here, and select the sniper transform, so we can get the two there. With the child actor selected, we're going to right click on the location, hit copy, go to sniper transform, right click location, paste. Do the same for the rotation, so right click, copy, right click, paste. So we're just using this as a reference to get it where we want it to be. And the scale should be the same as 1. And now we can delete that child actor as we don't actually need it. So that's perfect. So I'll go back to the event graph here, and you can see the sniper is going to spawn where we want it to. So now let's set up the widget. So we're going to minimize this, right click, go to user interface, widget blueprint, and I'm just going to name this sniper overlay widget, like so, or sniper crosshair, anything you like. And in here, we're just going to add an image with the position of 0 on the X and Y, size X 1920, size Y 1080. So let me just fix that. There we go, and we'll anchor it to the whole screen as well, so it doesn't move about. Then under appearance, we'll change the brush and the image to be our sniper overlay, which we've imported, like so. And this is what it's going to look like. So we compile, save, and that is what it will look like when we're aiming down the scope. So we can close that, as that's all we need to do in there. Back in our character blueprint, we're going to come out of the attach actor component again, and create widget, like we were going to earlier, with the class as our sniper overlay widget there. The return value for this, we're going to right click, promote to variable, and I'm just going to name this overlay ref. You can name this absolutely whatever you like, it's just a reference to that overlay widget we've just made. And so now let's set up actually aiming. So we set up the aiming animation, spawning in the gun, all of that. Now we need to actually set it up so that we can visually look down the scope when we're aiming. So we're going to come off of our aim code we made earlier, down here. So first we're going to right click down here and get player controller. Out of this, we're going to set view target with blend. Plugging that into set is aiming false, so we'll do that one first. The new view target is just going to be a reference to self. So when we stop aiming, we want to look through the character's normal camera again, like so. The blend time I'm going to put as 0.2. This is how long it's going to take for the cameras to blend between each other, so how long it takes to go from the player's camera to the sniper camera. Now if you want this to just be an instant snap, leave it as 0. I want it to just quickly blend in and out, so I'm going to put it as 0.2. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the overlay ref, so get overlay ref there, and out of this we're going to remove from parent. So it's going to remove that widget and the crosshair from our screens, like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select set view target with blend, Control C, Control V to duplicate it up here, plugging that into set is aiming true. Player controller will again go into the target. This time the new view target is going to be our sniper reference. So we can get sniper ref there. So now we're going to be looking through the sniper's camera when we start aiming. So that should work great for us. And then I'm going to come out of the overlay ref again and add to viewport. So this time it's going to add this to our screen when we start aiming. So what it's going to do is when we start aiming, we look down, adds it to our screen, and when we stop, it'll go back to our normal camera. So this will work. However, there is more stuff we need to add after this. However, like I say, this will work for the moment. So let me just show you what this is actually doing. So we get in, and we're going to aim down there. So you can see we aim down. However, we can only look left and right, not up and down, and we still have the barrel there. Now, if you want the barrel to be there, that's absolutely fine. You can leave it there, and you can also see we see the bullet reference that we left there earlier, and that's just because we forgot to change one thing. So I'll do that now. However, again, if you want the barrel in there, leave it as that, but there is still more stuff to do after that. So we're going to come out of this, open up our sniper BP here, we'll select the bullet, and we're just going to tick hidden in game, compile, and now we shouldn't see that in there anymore, and that works a lot better like that. So now let's finish off this code. So go back to our character blueprint here. What we're going to do is we're going to get the sniper reference here, get sniper ref. Out of this, we're going to get the AWP, or just basically our static mesh for our gun. Then out of that, we're going to set owner no C, plugging that into add to viewport there, and we're going to tick it. So the owner, basically the player, doesn't see the mesh when we're ADSing. So other people will still see it, but not the player, which is perfect, so we don't see the barrel down the scope. And we'll duplicate that down here, plugging that to remove from parent, target, again, the AWP, or basically your gun, and we're going to untick new owner no C, so that we then do see it. And then after this again, we're going to get the sniper reference, and out of this, we're going to enable input, leaving it as the target. I'm going to come out of this again, and disable input, again being the target, plugging that in there. Player controller will just be get player controller for both of these, like so. So plug that in there, like that. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can then move the camera when we need to, when we're in that blueprint. So we can compile and save that. And we've only got one final thing to set up, which is moving the camera, so that we can then look up and down as well. So that's very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our sniper blueprint here and go over to the event graph. And what we'll do is we'll delete these 3 events here, and instead we're going to right click and we're going to get the look up. So axes event look up there. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit the plus variable here, name this one pitch, and I'm going to change this to be a float. I'm going to drag and drop, get pitch, and then get an addition. So float plus a float, putting the bottom value as our axis value from the input axis look up here. Out of this, we're going to get a clamp float there, with the minimum and maximum values as how far we want to be able to look up and down. So I'm going to set the minimum to be -60 and the maximum to be 60, so we can only look up and down by that angle. So I'll show you how I found these values. What I did was I just dragged in our sniper blueprint here. You can see in the bottom right what it's going to look like. If we go back into our sniper BP and we just go into the viewport, minimize it a bit like this so we can see it, and we just rotate our camera on the pitch, you can see we're looking up and down. So I want to be able to look that far up and that far down. So that was 60 and -60. So again, get these values to be perfect for you, and that's how you do that. So again, mine are 60 and -60, like so. And then out of this, I'm going to set the pitch again. So just make pitch there. I'm going to plug this into the input axis, look up like so. So this just means that we can then continually add on to it when and where we need to, clamping it between these values. Out of this, I'm going to get a float multiplied by a float, timesing it by -1, because by default, this is actually inverted. So timesing it by -1, sorry, not -10, timesing it by -1 just reinverts it back to how we normally have it. So when you move your mouse up, it goes up. So if you want it to be inverted, don't have this. Then I'm going to move that down. I'm going to drag a reference to our camera in here. I'm going to set relative rotation, plugging that into the set pitch there. Now we could make a rotator here, but what I'm going to do instead is just right click the new rotation, split structure pin, plug in this return value of the multiplication here into the new rotation Y for the pitch, as that is what we want to be changing. And so now this will allow us to move the camera up and down as well, and we can only do this when we are aiming, which is why we enabled and disabled the input over here. So this should now work perfectly for us as well. So actually there's one final thing, and that's just allowing me to be able to shoot the bullets. So we can compile and save that, we can close our sniper, back in our character blueprint, we'll find some empty space, we'll right click, get a left mouse button. Now again, you can get the action mapping like we did earlier up here. However, this is just temporary code for me, so I'm going to do it like this. But again, I'd recommend making an action mapping. Out of pressed, we're going to spawn actor from class, with the class being our sniper bullet that we made earlier. Spawn transform, we're going to make transform like that. You can put the scale as what you want, but I want to have it as 0.5, as when I was making this code earlier, I found that half the actual size of the bullet was good for me, but you can set this to be whatever you like. For the location, which is where we want to spawn it, we're going to use the bullet reference we made earlier. So we're going to get sniper reference there. Out of this, we're going to get bullet, and you might have to scroll down, get bullet there. And out of this, we're going to get world location. So wherever the bullet is at that moment in time is where we want to spawn it. And the rotation, that's very simple as well. We're going to get the sniper reference once again down here. Out of this, we're going to get camera. Scroll down, get camera, or whatever you named your camera. And then out of that, we're going to get world rotation. Plugging that into the rotation of the make transform. And that is it done. That is how we're going to spawn the bullet and where we want to spawn it as well. And that's all we need to do for it. So if we compile, save, minimize, this should be working for us. So I'll delete that and we can hit play to test it. You see that I left click there to get in and it's spawning the bullets, however they're not moving. So I will actually finish that now, it's very simple. We just need to open the sniper bullet again and we need to add a component. So we didn't actually add the movement for it, so that was my bad, I forgot about that. So we'll add component, add projectile movement, and then we're going to search for velocity, and we're going to change the velocity on the X to be about 3000. So we can close that, compile, and now this should work for us. So we hit play, left click, you can see we're spawning in bullets there, like so. So now if we hold down right click, we're going to go in, so we're ADSing. So you can see when we hold right click to aim, we are actually aiming in and out of the sniper like so, with the correct vision on screen and the correct camera. And we can move our camera up and down, and we can't move it any further up or down than what we decided, We can move it around like so, and still shoot wherever we want to, like this, as we're using the camera's rotation. So that works great. So now I also remembered I'd say how to zoom in and out, so that's very simple. I'm going to come out of this, go into our sniper BP here, we'll select the camera, and we can just change the FOV. So the lower the FOV, the more zoomed in it is, the higher, the more zoomed out. So if I set this to 15, this should be more zoomed in now. So I hit play, right click, you can see we're really zoomed in now. So now if I look over there, you can see we're much more zoomed in than what we were before. So that's how that would work. So I think that'll be it for this video. We've done everything we want to do. We've set it up so we can aim in and out down sights through a sniper. So let me actually just zoom out a bit again. So that's quite far zoomed in for this map. So we can aim in and out down sights like this, from third person to first person for our sniper rifle like so. We can change how zoomed in it is. And we have this widget on screen as well. We can move the camera up, down, left, right, and we can still move around, and this works perfectly. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, make sure to like and subscribe down below. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.